When people see my home, they usually have one question. How do you live in only 128 square foot? And honestly, that's a fair question. Most people see a tiny house and think about what you had to give up. Less space, less storage, less room. But over the last few years, I've started asking a different question. What if 128 square foot is enough? What if it's enough space to build a life that's affordable, beautiful, and maybe even a little more self-sufficient? This is the Midnight Rose, and today I want to share the vision behind what I'm building here. I didn't move into a tiny house because I wanted less life. I moved into a tiny house because I wanted more freedom. Like a lot of people, I got tired of feeling like life was becoming more expensive, more complicated, and more stressful every year. I wanted something simpler, something manageable, something that would allow me to focus on what actually matters instead of constantly maintaining things I didn't really need. Living in 128 square foot has definitely come with challenges. There are days when I wish I had a little more storage, a little more counter space, a little more room, but what I've gained has been worth it. I've learned that happiness doesn't necessarily require more square footage. Sometimes it requires more intention. When I first moved into my tiny house, I thought the house was the goal. But after living here for a while, I realized something. The house wasn't the destination. It was the foundation. The tiny house solved one problem. It lowered my housing costs. It simplified my life, but it also opened the door to a bigger question. How can I become more self-reliant? How can I build a life that feels more secure, more resilient, more connected to the things that actually sustain me? That's when the idea of creating a micro-homestead started taking shape. Now, when people hear the word homestead, they often picture hundreds of acres, barns, tractors, huge gardens. That's not what I'm building. For me, self-sufficiency isn't about doing everything myself. It's not about living off-grid. It's not about being completely independent. It's about becoming a little less dependent, a little more capable, a little more prepared every year. It's about learning skills, producing some of my own food, keeping my expenses manageable, and creating a life that feels sustainable. Not perfect, just sustainable. One thing you'll probably notice is that this place doesn't look like a traditional homestead. And that's intentional. This is called the Midnight Rose. Everything has a black and pink theme. The tiny house, the chicken coop, the garden, the projects, the details, because I didn't want to build somebody else's dream. I wanted to build mine. I've always believed that self-sufficiency shouldn't mean giving up creativity or personality. Your home should reflect who you are, and the Midnight Rose reflects me. One of the newest additions to the Midnight Rose are my chickens. Right now, they're only about 8 weeks old. They're still babies. They're months away from laying eggs. And honestly, that's part of the story. A lot of people only see the finished results, the basket of eggs, the harvest, the success. But every self-sufficient life starts long before those things happen. It starts with planning, learning, building, and making mistakes. And showing up every day, even when the rewards are still months away. That's where I am right now. I'm building the foundation. My goal isn't to become completely self-sufficient. My goal isn't to disappear into the wilderness. My goal is to create a life that's a little more resilient every year. A life where I can grow some food, raise chickens, learn new skills, keep my expenses manageable, and enjoy the simple things. I want to prove that you don't need a huge house, and you don't need a massive property. You also don't need to have everything figured out before you start. Sometimes, all you need is a vision and the willingness to take the next step. Right now, the Midnight Rose is still a work in progress. It's a 128 square foot house, a flock of young chickens, a lot of ideas, and a whole lot of dreams. But every project I complete, every lesson I learn, and every improvement I make is helping me build the life I've imagined. So if you've ever wondered whether it's possible to create something meaningful with a small space, a small budget, and a big dream, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Midnight Rose, and welcome to the journey.